Everybody, it is Tuesday night, which means one thing and one thing only. It's another edition of the Fantasy Cheat Sheet presented by Going for Two Live. Make sure to go, like, subscribe, and comment on the Going for Two Live YouTube channel, Twitch, wherever you are. Go ahead and do that. I am pushing a cold through, so I'm just going to get straight to the meat and potatoes of this show. Let's just get straight into the introductions of the other host. First off, we got Zach back. Zach at the Big Pulowski. What is up, Zach?
What's up, Mike? Thanks for having me. Glad to be back, as always. Good to see you as well, Jamie. I mean, getting a couple doses of Jamie a week now.
Love it.
All right, and as Zach just mentioned, we also got Jamie. What is up, Jamie? How you doing, my man?
What is up, everyone, man? Let's get ready to talk some football.
All right, so before we get into everything, let's just get into the real quick news that we do have. I know we'll all want to talk a little bit about it. The Indianapolis Colts decide to go fire Frank Reich. They get rid of Frank Reich after all the hullabaloo at the quarterback position. But the second biggest piece of information in the Frank Reich firing is the fact that their new interim head coach has never coached in college, has never coached in pro, and was 3-9 the last year he coached in high school. Yes, he is a former football player, but still with no experience. That is the former center of the Indianapolis Colts, Jeff Saturday. So let's kick it off. Zach, I see you're shaking your head. Just tell me how you feel.
Mike, I need you to put some respect on my boy Jeff Saturday's name. All right?
Oh, I forgot he was a Packer.
He was a Packer for a whole 1 or 2 years. Thank you very much. But no, this is a guy that was a proven locker room presence, a leader in the locker room. He won Super Bowl I with the Indianapolis Colts. But with him specifically, he was a lifelong center that was really respected, really productive. And you know what the biggest fault of the Colts has been this year? And I'm in the house. It's good to be here. Good to see you.
I know where you're going with this, Zach. I know.
They suck on the offensive line. And they have too much talent. They have too many individual players that are really highly touted, highly regarded guys on that offensive line. And you know, the biggest issue, this is coming straight from Irsay. So he's saying, hey, you're a guy I trust. We've had a good relationship when you played on this team. I need someone to come in, kick these guys in the ass, and say, hey, what the hell is going on? We've got a good offensive line. Let's play like it. Jamie, what do you think?
Yeah, Jamie, what's up?
I mean, what did he do to deserve a head coach job? Really nothing. I understand the fact that he's an offensive lineman and he could fix that problem, but that's the only thing. He could do that without being the head coach.
But it's an interim job.
Yeah. They could have found
nothing. But I mean, mid-season, it's hard to pull. Sorry, go ahead, Jamie. I'll jump in.
I really have nothing to say except I don't think he deserves it. There could have been other people that deserve it more. But I get it. I get it though.
All right, let me go and then you can chime back in, Zach. What I was saying at the beginning about all his accolades and lack of was more of a joke because the more I think about it, I don't think it's as bad of a hire as I thought. But I was also saying that because that's all you've been hearing for the past 24 hours everywhere is he hasn't done it, he hasn't done this, he hasn't done that. Here's the thing. I am more shocked that they didn't hire with him. But if they are going to hire without him, here's the thing. Whenever there's usually a firing mid-season, it's rare that it's a hiring from outside the already internal coaching staff. Once you do that, I think all gloves are off, all red flags are off, and you never know. You never know what's going on. I didn't see this personally. I don't know if you guys did or not, but I know we were joking around about it yesterday, Jamie, so I'm not saying it because we were joking around about it yesterday. But on Get Up this morning, because Jeff Saturday has been on Get Up, this year. Supposedly, one of my coworkers told me that Dan Orlovsky mentioned that some of the things that him and Saturday have been talking about for the past 10 to 15 days offset are making sense now that Saturday got hired. So it sounds like there has been discussions with Saturday that it's not just come out of the blue on Monday morning and Saturday was the head coach. So I think this has been kind of a setup. And then when I was thinking about it, I think Zach is actually 100% correct. I think it has to do with that O-line sucking. And the only way that team is going to win is what? They're going to have to run the goddamn ball, because even if they bring Matt Ryan back in, which they're not this week, Matt Ryan is not Matt Ryan from Matty Ice days. So they're going to need to run the ball. If he gets healthy, give me all the JT this year, because if they start winning, I think it's going to be on JT's back and not the quarterback position. Anything you want to follow up, Zach?
I mean, we got Dan in here. Hey, Dan, how's it going? But he's talking about this being a tank job, nothing more. I can see it from that perspective. To me, I think
what's up, Dan?
The Colts aren't impressing us in any way, shape, or form. All the areas we had our hopes going into the year, they've underwhelmed. So obviously, if they could shore up what's been an underwhelming offensive line, they could be better. But at this point, I mean, the Jags are showing a little bit of promise. The Texans are showing more promise than the Colts right now. I mean, it's tough to even look in the rough AFC South and look at their direct rivals and think they're better in any way. So
I don't think they're better than any of them.
I could see it short term maybe helping improve the offensive line, but I don't think that results in actually winning games. And like Gator mentioned,
I don't think it's happening.
Shutting JT down. I wish they would. For any leagues I own JT in Dynasty, please just end it for me already. If you guys are going to suck, I just protect him. I don't want him to get banged up for next year. But that's all I got on that.
Any more you got, Jamie?
No, I mean, I think they should shut him down just so he stays healthy, because he's just going to get even more banged up with that offensive line.
I think they should possibly, but I just don't see it happening. Mm-hmm. All right, so that's pretty much all the news we got. So let's just get straight into Monday Night Football. We had a game where the Ravens won 27-13 down in New Orleans. I got a couple things to say in a little bit about it, but what I want to know is, Zach, what is your main takeaway?
My main takeaway is in the form of a wide receiver, Mr. Chris Olave, the rookie. Yes. The man is just playing like a stud. That's all I can say about it. I've been impressed. I liked him. I think a lot of us liked him coming into the year. Obviously, he was highly regarded, came in first round of the draft. But, he had one hell of a performance yesterday, and I'm going forward with MT out with that foot injury for the rest of the year. I have a hard time seeing this kind of stuff not maintained, especially in games like this, because a 27-13 scoreline for final is a scenario I could see the Saints in a lot this year. So, I mean, if Olave is producing in those kind of scores, that makes me feel very good, especially given the fact that all of his production wasn't in the form of receiving touchdowns. It was in regards of receptions and yards. 6 receptions, 71 yards, 9 targets. I love the 9 targets. And if he can maintain this production, he's going to be an elite guy that can help you win a lot of leagues. Obviously, in dynasty leagues, tough to trade for because he's a rookie, high 1-2. But in redraft, I like him a lot. Chris Olave, though, stocks are to the moon. I love him for the end of the season.
All right, Jamie, before you go real quick, B-Dubs, I do see your question. I will hold that off to the end of the show for a certain reason. Towards the end of the show, we will get into that question, but there's a certain reason I want to hold off on that. Jamie, what do you think about Olave?
Oh, I love Olave, man. Like, he was my number 2 receiver going in the rookie drafts, and I got a whole bunch of him in Dynasty, and even redraft, I was getting him late, and he definitely helping my teams.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Olave to the moon. I'm in a 20-man roster, 20-man league that somebody is trying to get Olave from me, and they keep upping it. And finally, the other day, literally the message I got the other day was, "What the heck is it going to take to get Olave off your team?" And I pretty much said, "You're not going to get him off my team," but in choice words. So other than that, I don't really need to say more. Jamie, what do you have to take away from last night?
Man, so the New Orleans Saints, man, they got a glimpse of what they could have had with Lamar Jackson. Like, I don't know if you remember back in the 2018 draft when the Saints traded their 2 first-round picks to get Marcus Davenport, that defensive end. And like most of us, I don't know about you guys, but I thought the Saints were moving up to get Lamar Jackson. So last night they saw up close and personal, like what they could have had. I know they had Drew Brees at the time, but like it's hard to ignore like what the team could look like right now with Lamar Jackson on it. So what are you guys thinking? Like how different would the Saints franchise be right now if they had Lamar Jackson?
Mike, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
It'd be a lot different. It's hard to fathom that because just the way things have played out. I think a lot of things would have happened differently, aka we wouldn't have had MT as big. I don't think running game would have been different. I think Kamara would have been if he was the quarterback, Kamara might have been a bigger asset. I mean, he's already good, but Kamara might have been the biggest benefactor, and the wide receivers would have been the biggest losers. What do you guys think?
That's a tough scenario to play in my head. I mean, I have a hard time seeing Lamar not succeed anywhere, but it's tough because a lot of what dictates a quarterback's success in the NFL is where they go, what team they go to, the organization, how it's ran, how the infrastructure of the coaching and the front office is. And obviously the Saints have been pretty good there, but Lamar, I mean, it would be a great scenario for Saints fans. I try not to play those because, I mean, shit, that could be like the Jordan Love scenario. What I try not to think too much of all the different.
Well, here's the other question I have about it before I get into my takeaway from last night. What was it? I just had it too. The situation is, the only thing that scares me is Sean Payton doesn't seem like the right head coach for Lamar.
Well, did you see the quote today that Sean Payton said that?
No, I didn't see it.
I'm a free. Yeah, so like I shared it on my Facebook. Sean Payton's like, I'm going to be a free agent. Lamar's going to be a free agent, trying to like hook up with each other.
I have a take where I think Sean Payton's going to be next year, and I'll just say it right now. I think Sean Payton's going to be coaching Justin Herbert. So, I mean, it's a bold take, but that's what I would hate it. I hate it. I hate it. But really? I'm a Chiefs fan. You think I want Sean Payton in my division?
Yeah, you're right.
Okay. So my takeaway from last night has to do with Lamar Jackson, and that is they need to get that man some help. If they're going to go any further this year in the playoffs, they have a chance to make it deep. But Bateman's out. I'm going to say it. Jamie, you already know where I'm going with this one. Yep. Get that man OBJ.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have said that 2 weeks ago. But the problem is the trade deadline is gone. There's no one really else out there. I mean, Deshaun Jackson already pulled a hammy.
Yep.
You need another wide receiver. I do like Duvernay. I do like DeMarcus Robinson. You guys can both guess why I like DeMarcus Robinson, and that's part of it. Yes, it's a homer pick. But James Prochet is not the answer. Mark Andrews is a little beat up. Yes, I got Isaiah Likely, but you need more than just the tight ends. You got to be able to pass the ball in the playoffs. Get the guy some help. And in the draft next year, draft a wide receiver if you are able to hold on to Lamar. Don't go draft a center like you did this year and have Lamar question you.
Yeah, I was going to say exactly what Gator J said, man. Will Fuller's out there.
Oh, gosh, I forgot about Will Fuller.
Yeah.
We just need all the help my boy Devin can get. He's just too much of a talent. The defenses have to focus on Duvernay like that. Now, maybe I'm just saying that because I'm a little biased because I was snagging him early in leagues this year. But, no, they need some help there. They really do. Obviously, Kenyon Drake's been productive at the running back position. Lamar looks great as always. Mark Andrews is Mark Andrews. And you have Likely, who had the one reception for that touchdown. But, yeah, they need guys. I mean, Devin Duvernay, I've liked him relative to what his stock was at the beginning of the year. But that's like a Green Bay Packer wide receiver. Come on. Like, none of these teams should be doing this to these good QBs. Whether it's the Packers, the Ravens, or anyone else. Like, tired of watching these good QBs throw to guys that can't even run the right routes or catch the ball.
Yeah. All right. So Monday Night Football is gone. But you know what else? You know what stings a lot right after Monday Night Football? Is bad decisions or bad beats. Zach, take it away.
Yeah, I tried not to jump the gun on it. You triggered me a little bit ago when you mentioned Mr. Isaiah Likely. He was
Uh-oh.
the kind disher out of the L I got this week in one of my leagues. We are now 6-3. Or no. Sorry, no, not wrong league. Yep, we are 6-3. I lost by 0.82 points, 0.82, and all thanks to going into Monday night. I had no one left. They had Isaiah Likely left. Those 9.9 points from that one reception, that's what did me in. And if I just, maybe benched David Montgomery or benched Devonta Smith or benched Michael Pittman and put in Tyler Algier, I win the game. And hey, at least I'm still 6-3, but it's always painful to lose by less than a point.
Oh, we got one that I'll mention in a minute. Jamie already heard about it. All right, Jamie, what is your bet? What do you got?
All right, so I started Duvernay over Juju. Don't ask why. I have no idea. Maybe it was because I had Lamar as my quarterback, and I was thinking of the stack. But even on the Sunday Morning Star Sit show, that was one of my questions. And Gladys even said Juju Smith-Schuster, and I was like, I just didn't put him in. But I lost by 7 points, so that 18 points Juju had would have just put me over the top. I would have still been in first place in my division. Now I'm in second. It's just, I don't know what I was thinking, man.
It hurts
Right.
It hurts just as much every time.
Oh, for sure. So
it was well before I going into Monday night game. I had Lamar, Duvernay, Olave, Tucker, and the Saints defense going, and I lost by 7 points.
Okay, so I got one real quick. I'll give the one that in-depth one first. I fell into the trap that you have to start a quarterback at Superflex. Okay? Problem is this. The quarterback that I started at my Superflex spot was PJ freaking Walker. Jamie, Do you know how many points PJ Walker got me?
He got me negative points on my Superflex spot, so
He got me negative 3.2.
Yep.
I'll just say, so I lost by 9, okay? Guess who I didn't start, I had in the lineup Saturday night, and I took out and put PJ in. A wide receiver from down in Duval named Christian Kirk. I would have won, and obviously I did not. Now I am one spot out of the playoffs currently because of that dumbass move of mine. But so I'm not very happy about that, right, Zach? I mean, you can tell. But I got one that is actually worse than yours, Zach. There's not a player that I could have put in to beat. It's not. It wasn't a player that I could have put into when in my super flex spot was Andy Dalton. Okay. Negative. I forget. He kept getting sacked. He kept getting incompletions. All that jazz. Yes, there was the touchdown at the end, right?
Yeah.
Jamie saw this last night because it's in a league I'm in with Jamie. I'm in the league with Jamie, so Jamie saw it.
Yep.
I lost by 0.19. All that last drive to end the game, I was just saying, get a strip and get one more pass, Andy. Get a strip defense and get one more completion. I lost by 0.19, and here's what's the worst part. Zach, do you remember earlier in the season when I said I won by 0.28?
Of course.
It was the same guy in a different league.
Oh, he got his revenge, of course.
And by the way, I heard about it today. About noon, I got a text that said, "I'm surprised I haven't heard from you today. Are you okay?" I was like, come on. Like, really?
The suffering never stops in fantasy football. It really doesn't.
I mean, it needs to, doesn't it?
I mean, for some of us, it never stops anyway. Obviously, it depends on the league. I mean,
And it also depends on how many leagues you're in.
that's true as well. I was thinking more specifically with, my SFB 12 team. I know all three of us are in that, and we're having varying degrees of success.
Yep.
I know Jamie's at the high end. Mike, you're
Yep.
more in the middle comparatively to me, and then
Yep.
you got me. Holding down the fort at the bottom of those rankings. Someone's got to feel cozy down there too. We don't want the people over there feeling lonely. So that's why I nominated myself. Made
Yep.
sure to draft the shit team. And hey, with the SFB 12 check-in about halfway through the year, I can confidently say that I don't think it could have gone any worse.
Who'd you get? Who'd you draft?
It was more about luck, injury luck, bad luck in all regards. I mean, it was, coming into it, it was great. During the off season, I've got different shows talking about how I did in the SFB 12 draft because I love my team. And
Yeah,
felt
no,
great,
I remember that.
You know what's funny about it though? I loved it, but I also knew it didn't matter because guess what? That doesn't give me any fantasy points. And hey, before week one and during week one, yeah, by the end of week one, I already knew I was fucked for the rest of the year. It was let's see, Tom Brady.
Yeah.
That's been underwhelming.
Yeah.
Dak Prescott got hurt week one. I had Elijah Mitchell hurt week one. Travis Etienne splitting carries until recently with James Robinson. A.J. Dillon, underwhelming. Devonta Smith, hit or miss. Jacoby Myers, hit or miss. Lazard, hit or miss. Kyle Pitts, same thing. A lot of inconsistency, but it's never on the same weeks where I can actually win. Like Devin Duvernay, great pick there. Dolchich, great pick there. Brian Robinson, cool. I got these deep picks, but it's never consistent, and someone else is always getting hurt. So right when it looks like things are piecing together, and I'm finally going to work my way out of being under 500, someone else just goes right into another bench spot of someone being hurt.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good team on paper.
Oh, and I mean, I'm happy with the deep picks. I look at my later rounds and I crushed it. But all the guys earlier, I mean, Brian Robinson shot, Elijah Mitchell hurt. I mean, shit, literally my whole bench going into week two was guys out or on the IR.
Yeah. So Jamie, give a little bit of a summary of what you got going on for SFB 12, and I'll do the same after you.
Tell me what the good side of it sounds like.
Right now, I'm 15-3. I already made the playoffs. Got that locked up weeks ago.
4-14. Just to have
no. Oh man. Yeah, like I was up and down. Like I was in, I think I was 68th overall at one point, and then Lamar and Andrews kind of crapped the bed on me for a little bit. Went back down to like in the hundreds, and now I think I'm in like the 280, like right before the top 300. But I'm having a good year.
It's disgusting that you even look at those rankings lists. Oh, I checked after like week 3 just to see how far down I was, and yeah, I was really close to the bottom.
I'm trying to see what place I'm in my division right now. I don't even know what my record is right now. I haven't looked today.
I'm pulling up the update from Scott Fish.
Here it is.
3 undefeated teams. Oh, that makes me sad.
Man, I wish I was one of them. I was one of the last, I think it was 28 undefeated teams.
I am 5-4, but I do not know what I am with the median and all that junk, so I don't know what my other. I'm 5-4 in regular, the regular, just straight up. I just don't know what because I'm just looking at the app right now. I'm not looking at I don't have the sheet in front of me. But so,
okay,
go ahead. While you're looking. So this is why my team is mediocre or in the middle. I got Kyler Murray and Derek Carr. Derek Carr has not been that great. But here's my run. I don't normally do this. Zach knows this. Jamie, I don't know if you knew this part, but I know me and Zach talked about it. I went running back heavy just because of the way the draft board fell. Nick Chubb, great. DeAndre Swift, meh. ETN, meh. At the beginning. Breece Hall.
That hurt.
And just like Zach, Devonta Smith, Jerry Jeudy, and the one that I thought was going to have a breakout year was Darnell frickin' Mooney. Okay? And then I go and say, hey, I'm going to put my name and stamp on a frickin' tight end that I think is going to have a breakout year. You know what? Swervin' Irvin, you suck. I'm never drafting you again. No. I might draft you again, but you're on the frickin' IR. You're done. And then I have Gerald Everett. Okay. The last 3 weeks, I have flexed 2 kickers each week.
I've done that the past 3 weeks.
Yeah, same here. So
I can only play one.
yeah. Oh yeah, you're on.
I would have been starting a lot of kickers for a while.
He had the live draft.
The way I was hurt.
Okay, Dan. I know Darnell Mooney didn't have a breakout year. I wanted him to have a breakout year. Okay.
But just remember, in Scott Fishbowl, though, it's if you have 13 wins, you automatically make the playoffs.
Yeah.
But after that, it goes by points.
Yeah.
So you guys can still make it if you guys got good points.
Gator J sitting at 9-9, sitting in 7th in his division.
I keep scrolling. I guess I'm trying to.
That's exactly my point.
Well, okay. So what's your
right,
total? Like if you look at your total points, then you'll be able to find your name better.
Okay, that's a good call.
Mm-hmm.
I wish I didn't look at my total points.
Let's look at this real quick. We got a trade in the chat. Cup and Kadarius Toney for Saquon, Kittle, and Lockett. Who wins?
All right. I like the Saquon.
It's
Saquon, Kittle. Yep, for sure.
Gator J has already said that for us in the chat. Thank you, Gator J.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's an easy one for me.
Yeah.
I usually have to go Kittle, Lockett, Saquon, all that stuff. I mean,
and that's the side the guy's getting to. So this is an easy smash.
Like if it was Cup and AJ Brown, then that would be a smash side. But I'm not giving up Saquon.
My concern too with Cup right now is the volume as well. You know, he's really getting overworked right now with the Rams, and there is some concern just based off his age. You know, at some point that's going to pile onto his body and take a toll on him. And I love him. I love watching him. Great talent. But when you're getting worked that hard, getting that many targets, it could get dangerous.
Yeah. And I will say this. I am sorry, Dan, and I sincerely mean that because you are a buddy. Dan said he started 9-1 and is currently 9-9.
Oh, wow.
Such a choke job.
Well, remember, it's all about the points if you don't get those 13 wins.
Okay. Actual football question from Dan. If Josh Allen is out for a couple of weeks, do you what?
Give up?
No.
No.
He's in so many leagues. I don't even know what league this has to do with.
Mike, what is your total fantasy points in Scott?
I'm finding that out right now.
Because we're going to start with Jamie. What's your total points?
Oh crap! I don't even know, like 13 or 14 something or 1368 maybe.
1274.5.
For him or for you?
For me.
Okay, 1274.5.
Yeah, I think I'm in like either the high 13s or low 14s maybe.
All right, so Dan wants to know if he picks up Taylor Heineke or give up. Pick up Taylor Heineke unless you're already almost in a rebuild.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Heineke's a good play.
Or if this is SFB, you're picking up Taylor Heineke. Don't give up, Dan.
Depends on, is it a dynasty?
That's what I said. Unless
if it's a dynasty, don't tempt me with the tank job. I've got a few of those each year. And
okay.
That's what I'm about to talk about.
We're not getting into that right now. We'll let Jamie get into it. There's good ways and bad ways of tanking.
Mm-hmm.
While Zach is still looking into SFB, Jamie.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Jamie, take over.
All right. So I have a moral dilemma. Like, I don't like sitting my best players, but in this situation, so I'm in a league. I'm 2-7. I'm in second last place, no chance of competing this year with all the injuries I had with like Swift, Dobbins, Njoku, Joey Boza, Chase Young, plus Jonathan Taylor is not producing. I've been setting my lineup the best I can up until this point. Just been having bad luck losing. So I went back and I looked at all the previous weeks and noticed that after week 4, the guy in last place benched half his team and hasn't touched it since. Like he benched CMC, Cup, Najee, James Conner. He has Baker Mayfield and Trubisky as his quarterbacks. He has 2 running back spots left blank and a wide receiver spot empty. He's playing guys like Randall Cobb. So it's safe to say that he doesn't even look at this league. So
I told you that guy should not be in the league, in my opinion.
So I'm facing the guy this week, and we're both 2-7.
The answer is yes, Gator
All
J.
right.
It is a money league.
Yes.
Do
I'm
you
facing this guy, and
the guy that's tanking more than it's more of a moral question. I feel like is what's going on.
So since we're tied, if I lose to him, I'll get the number 1 pick. What do I do? Lower to his level, play the same game he's been doing, and then kick him out of the league.
Okay, before Zach gives his answer, you don't do, in my opinion, what you mentioned originally, and just not. The original thought was take everyone out of the lineup and not play a single player. In my opinion, you do not do that.
So what if I match his team and I take
Zach.
2 running backs out?
Take it away, Zach.
Are you the commissioner?
Co-commish.
He's co. That's the point.
And he's been doing this all year.
It's I didn't even notice it until last
Is he the
week.
commissioner?
No.
Okay. I don't change rules mid-season with my leagues, so I wouldn't be able to change course on anything regardless of how I felt about it or how my league mates felt about it. However, with something like that, we usually put specific guidelines in place. We've had tanking get out of hand in a few of my leagues, especially as there's 16 team ones, one of which is a super flex. So it's deep.
Yep.
And tanking gets out of hand where I've had to make a lot of rules where it's, expected that you start your best lineup. Obviously there's kind of leeway there, but if you, like Dan said, that's Bush League. We have rules in place for that. It shouldn't be said, but if you're doing it, it's bullshit. And that's where, thank you, Dan. He stole the words from my mouth.
Oh, we are talking about we messaged them today, and we're giving them one last chance. We already have a replacement lined up.
I wouldn't kick him mid-season. I'm saying I played at his level until then. All right, fuck it. I can't change anything about it now, even if I'm the co-commish. Even if it's one of my leagues, we know that we're going to discuss the rules in the off season. Until then, he's already doing it.
Yep.
Hey, I'm going to out tank the tanker.
So I actually went back in the chat, and when we voted how to do if we had a consolation bracket or worst record, and I explained to them in detail what could happen for people tanking. And the one guy that's actually not paying attention was why would someone do that? So I screenshotted it, but the guy that brought it up to our attention, he's the one that's tanking's a strategy, but now he has an issue with it.
Yeah. I mean, a wholesome aspect of it in regards to league health overall, you want all the teams to be starting their best players. The issue when you don't have a league operating that way is you have weeks that operate essentially as bye weeks and can have major impacts on how the rest of the league looks for standings and playoff purposes or whatever. And so that's where it's some bullshit that the guys are doing that. And that's where I would make that priority number 1 on making some rules. I would already tell him he's got one, tell him he's gone. Not even another chance. If you're pulling that shit, just get out of here. Yep. But at least just let him ride it out the rest of the year. Just know that, hey, you don't get to reap any of the reward for you doing this bullshit.
Yeah, and I actually brought up a good plan for next year to get rid of tanking is if you use your max points 4, which is your whole roster's points, then the lowest will get the number 1 pick, the people that are out of the playoffs, obviously. And they all thought it was a good idea to do that way.
One of my leagues does it.
Yeah, I'm in one that does it, and then other ones are consolation brackets.
Mine's NBA style. I made a
lottery.
Yeah, I calculated a lottery.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And that,
like
that way it's just kind of less of a shit show. I mean, especially with those 16-man ones, though. It's tough.
I'm in a
you only have a few competitive.
I'm in a 20-man league and then I'm in a 14-man super flex. So same thing where a 20-man dynasty league is right away there's going to be disparity.
Yeah. No, and It's tough. It's unfortunate in leagues, and especially depending on the size. The smaller the league you're in, I think the more of an impact you'll notice just due to kind of, or actually, I think it's the bigger
It's
because I'm.
it's dynasty,
It's,
Yeah,
Gator.
dynasty.
but
Because
with
I'm trying to tank for the number one pick.
the scheduling impact though, because for me, 16 teams, we essentially play everyone but one team per year.
Yep.
So someone
Yeah.
might miss out on playing the guy that essentially has no lineup, and I don't. My expectation is just leagues have those rules, and it sucks when you have someone taking advantage of it, but you can't. I don't know. People are going to take advantage. They're competitive. You know, if you give them
Dan,
the
you're
leeway.
right, but I do pay attention. Damn it, that's all I care about.
Hey, as long as
You
someone's
pay
paying
attention
in
too,
it.
Dan. I give you credit, Dan. You pay attention in that league. Okay.
But what? So there, obviously, that's a shitty situation to be in. But I think there's another kind of shitty situation right now, which is one of the other weapons in Kansas City, right, Mike?
That's a little bit later.
Oh, okay.
All right,
Okay,
Gator.
so-
I actually screenshotted the roster, so if the one guy doesn't want it, I'll send it over to you.
So for my I don't care what I want to talk about segment, I honestly had a long day, so I was going to do something different, but I'm going back to one of my main. I'm going back to my comfort zone. I'm looking at some of the early odds in betting this week. I know it's early. I know it's only frickin' Tuesday. Someone told me that at work today. Why are you looking at odds? It's frickin' Tuesday. Because I'm looking at odds.
We're degenerates.
Yeah, I'm a degenerate. So Thursday night's game, Carolina is a 3-point underdog at home against Atlanta. I don't know what I think about that one. And but here's the one that I think. I heard this on TV, and I just have this gut feeling that they might be right. Tampa Bay 2.5-point favorite in Germany against the Seahawks. Something's telling me that this is a game that the Seahawks are going to not pull out. I think Tom Brady is going to use the momentum from pulling out that overtime win and that drive, or not the overtime, but the last second win against the Rams, and they're going to win that one. I think so. I'm taking Tampa Bay minus 2.5. If it gets to like 3.5, that's when I'm 3.5, 4. That's where I'm going to question it. Honestly, the Chiefs at 9.5. I don't bet on my team, but I think we're going to win the game. But I don't know if we're going to cover, even though it's Jacksonville. We just like to downplay to some teams, and that drives me absolutely nuts. But there is one person on this panel that I am going to piss off right now. And I apologize ahead of time. I am taking Miami 3.5 favorite over the Cleveland Browns.
Smart.
I think Tua is on fire, and I think the Browns can keep it close. But I think at the end of it, that defense is not good enough to keep that passing game with Tyreek Hill and Waddle in check.
Like, I'm gonna be honest, I don't even think it's gonna be that close. Like,
I think
Miami offense. Like, I mean, if they can contain Garrett, like that Miami offense is just gonna eat all day, and I don't think the Browns have enough firepower.
And then the other one that I want to bring up real quick, where was it? There was another one.
Oh yeah, Chubb is definitely gonna go off, but
Chubb's gonna go off.
Yeah. But what if they get rid of the run because they fall behind? And
So I have a legit question for my boy Zach next to me here on the panel. You think you guys are gonna? What do you think is gonna happen in your? Do you think you're gonna put up a fight? I'm not. I'll tell you the spread after what it is at now, but it's at home against Dallas.
No.
Okay,
I
right now
agree.
it's at 5.
I would be willing to take alternates either lower or higher. I like that line for Dallas. I don't see how Green Bay covers a 5-point spread. They're 3-6. Their offense has looked out of sync all year. They haven't been able to throw the ball. Guys like AJ Dillon aren't really producing. We're not really seeing anything in regards to their offense, and their defense that was supposed to be good has been subpar at best as well. And when you look at the defense's DVOA and some of those stats, it's just scary. And the Cowboys have one hell of a defense. Dak's back, and they haven't been able to stop the run. I haven't seen anything from Green Bay this year that tells me they can even hang in this game, especially when the Cowboys have look like they have one of these generational types of defenses right now.
And isn't Aaron Jones banged up a little bit?
Yeah, a little bit, but
Yeah.
it's not, even if he's fully healthy, that doesn't even really sell me in it being more competitive. Green Bay has just been completely out of sync, and at this point, I'm waiting for like a walk to the locker room right before halftime where the cameras are clearly on Rodgers, and suddenly we have Jordan Love coming out of the tunnel at halftime starting in the second half. So I don't know if that's this week, but I'm waiting in the next couple of weeks to see Jordan Love out there for more than some garbage time stuff. Wouldn't be surprised.
All right. So
if you want to ask how I'm feeling as a Packer fan right now, super optimistic for our hopes this season.
Yeah. So the one thing that the Packers did not do this trade deadline is make a trade. However, I know someone that loves to trade. And that guy happens to have one of the best mustaches I've seen in a long time. Talk about it, buddy.
You know the way to my heart, complimenting the stash. What a sweetheart. No, I am all about the trades right now in all of my dynasty leagues. For you that are not in dynasty, this is still a great time to be doing this. But especially for those in dynasty, obviously, there's more opportunity because redraft, everyone's trying to win. Right now, though, I want you to look at your rosters, identify, do I feel like I have a realistic shot of competing? Where am I at? What's the best case scenario if everything rolls right? Do I actually see myself making the playoffs and genuinely beating these teams? Not just a bullshit. I know fantasy football is half luck anyway. However, you don't want to depend on luck too much going into these matchups. So that's where right now, be aggressive. Go get the Derek Carrs, the Jonathan Taylors, the big names that might cost a lot, but you're buying them cheaper right now. They turn around second half of the year, they produce more, awesome. But that's where, guys like Odell Beckham, guys like Will Fuller, maybe try and pay cheap, go there. Or James Robinson, Michael Carter, any of those guys where you're just looking, half a year. You don't need to invest in guys long term, but just try and win. Try and figure out what you need, who's performed underwhelming in regards to opponents in your league, and then pinpoint them and who you can take from them and what it'll take to get. I don't know. It's go time for trades. Trade deadline's coming. You got to be aggressive, and you got to find the weak link in the pack. Look through the pack, your league. That's the guy I'm going to hunt down, and I'm going to gut his team, and I'm going to kill him.
All right, so
do that.
Jamie, what do you think about trade?
Yeah, I mean, I 100% agree, man. Like, I started doing this last week, going through the teams. Like, if I was a lower team, I would look at the people that are in first, second, that are competing, that need people to fill in for bye weeks. I was trying to take advantage of that. But yeah, I mean, also look at your points, because if you have 3 losses and your points for are super lower compared to the other people, that means you need to beef up your team a little bit. So make those trades, get rid of some capital to just make that push for the playoffs.
All right. So for my trading comment, I'm just going to come out. I asked Jamie in private chat today, and the reason I didn't talk about it more, Jamie, is because I figured when I saw what Zach put in, I was just going to ask about it. So I'm in a league. I'm tied for third right now, but because of overall points, I'm in fourth. I won it last year. I am not going to let these mofos freaking take it easy from me. It's a single QB league. However, it's a league because these guys are newer to Dynasty the last couple of years. They like to hoard quarterbacks, even though it's single QB, and overvalue their quarterbacks. So one thing with trades, you got to know your damn league, because in some of the leagues that I'm in, this wouldn't be happening. But I've tried to get quarterbacks, and it hasn't worked. So I had a guy that finally realized that he is not going to be able to make the playoffs this year. So this morning he put a message out that said, come and get my guys. So, Zach, my quarterbacks currently, Sam Darnold, Drew Lock, and I'm also thinking for the future too, not just this year. Drew Lock, so no start. Darnold, no start. Taylor Heineke, who I picked up because I just needed a backup this year. And my starter is Matthew Stafford. Okay? He's not doing very great. He's probably not going to – I mean, he can get me points, but here's the thing. The guy that his starter is Justin Herbert. I'm not going after Justin Herbert. But he has a guy sitting on his bench that he's putting on the trade block named Deshaun Watson. What would you give up, and would you do it? What would you give up to get him? Because I could use him in the playoffs, and I could use him in future seasons.
I'll give away the same type of massage Deshaun was trying to get if it helps me win my league. I mean, shit, I'll put it point blank. You want a first round? I don't care. I like Deshaun's stock, and if I gotta,
he asked if I would give up a first. He asked if I would give up a mid first.
It's a 1 QB. How many teams?
12. I have a mid and I have a late. I have mine that's going to be late, and I have a mid.
But
I would prefer to get rid of the late one.
Yeah, I would.
That's
I
about
like
the same
Deshaun.
value.
I see the future asset there. My nerves are, what if Stafford doesn't really turn it around this year, and then you're really throwing it all on the shoulders for a playoff push of a guy that we haven't seen play in 2 years, right? Like I like Deshaun. I like the asset. I like the idea of acquiring him, but I'm also curious of what other options, Derek Carr is someone I've pursued in certain leagues where he's cheaper. He's underperformed, but he's got weapons. Obviously, their offensive line sucks, and he's underwhelmed compared to expectations. But it also means I can acquire him for cheaper, and he's still fairly young. So for me, I like the idea of acquiring Deshaun, but I'm also kind of nervous in regards to what his production will look like at the tail end of this year. It's tough to say, tough to know. I love the prospect. I loved what he gave before. And I'm not as certain as Gator J that he will not help this year, but I also don't want to find out when I have everything invested on him producing well.
Exactly.
So with that in mind, I mean, there are safer routes, but sometimes you also got to risk it for the biscuit. Mike, if you're feeling like Deshaun's the move going forward, say, fuck it, let's ride. Just pull a Russ. Let's ride.
He's young. He's only like what, 27?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I have him like in my dynasty ranks. He's in the top 10. He's got top 5 upside when he plays. So I think a late first would be perfect. I would not get rid of your mid first for him though.
I don't like it in a 1 QB though. Like I like the late first and a super flex, but
the super flex, he's probably like 2 first and a second, I would think, right?
So I asked the guy
for a top 10.
Jamie, you already know the story about my other trade. So I asked the guy, I didn't realize who it was. I asked the guy in the chat, I'm like, hey, the guy that had Kirk Cousins, because Kirk is not his starter. I'm like, hey, are you possibly willing to give up Kirk? And it was a guy that I made, I admit, a horrible trade with. He was the horrible end, not me. And he goes, I got made fun of so bad when I made that trade with you. I can't trade with you right now. No thanks. And I'm all, son of a, I knew it was going to backfire on me.
You didn't even leave that man with a little bit of talent on his team, did you? You did him that dirty.
So you were gone when it happened. You don't know about my Debo trade?
No, I think you were in the talks of it, though, I feel like.
Okay, so I was asking him if he wanted Judy or Deontay Johnson.
Yeah.
And then he hit me up and said, hey, I need a running back bad. And I said, well, I'm willing to give up Chase Edmonds. And this was right before Chase, dropped the cliff. I felt it, but it wasn't happening. And I go, okay, I'll give you Judy and Edmonds. I go, give me Judy and give me Julian Edmonds, and I'll give you a little more. I wanted either Waddle or AJB. That's what my target was. I knew I had to give up more, whatever. And he goes, let me message you in the morning. Mind you, his 3 wide receivers were Jalen Waddle, AJB, and Deebo Samuel. He messages me, and I literally texted him twice that day and said, are you sure this is the trade that you want? Are you sure this is what you really want me to offer? I thought he screwed up. Like, I was like, are you kidding me? What are you offering me? I text the commissioner, who's one of my best friends from high school, and I text him the chat, like literally sent him screenshots and said, if I accept this, I feel morally wrong for accepting this offer. And he goes, well, do what you got to do, blah, blah. If he's saying it's okay, I was giving up Devonta Parker and Chase Edmonds for Deebo and a first. Okay? So I was talking to like multiple people, like, I don't feel comfortable. This is horrible, whatever. I had his third from last year. I threw in his third from last year out of morality, and he goes, thanks, I love that counter. Accepted it. So I gave up Devonta Parker, Chase Edmonds, and an early third.
Yeah, that guy left
for a mid first in Deebo.
That guy walked out of your trade office with a limp in his step.
But the only thing that bugged me about the trade afterwards, a week later, I mean, I'm dealing with it, it's no big deal, is I already had CMC. Now I have CMC and Deebo. Dan, I know it's the worst trade ever. I know. But all right. So
I wanted to actually, sorry to interrupt. I just had one quick moral question on that subject though. We're talking about trades, you felt wrong accepting it.
I did.
Am I a bad guy if I accept? If I'm in these leagues, I just know one person, you send me a trade offer. Am I a bad guy for hitting accept? You're the one that sent it to me. What the hell am I supposed to know? We aren't negotiating. You send me an offer. Because there's a few of them I've accepted this year where I assume they probably didn't mean to send that.
Drunk trading.
No, if you send it to me and I like it,
take it. I mean, that's the way.
But I mean, am I the bad guy then? I don't. He did not use lube. Are you kidding me? Not in that trade.
Not in that trade.
Yeah, because I remember telling you, you should send him back a second, but you decided on a third.
It was his third.
Third's all right. Yeah, so why not? But to be fair, I remember this when this happened, and Devontae Parker had a great game that week.
Yeah, he did. That was his best game.
Yes.
Everyone in the league's like, you sent Devonta. Everyone messaged me. You sent Devontae Parker, and then he had his game of his life, and I'm all, yeah. And Chase Edmonds had a 2-point game. Okay, so we've talked about Chase Edmonds. We've talked about all this. There is a team over there in Carolina that has some issues at a lot of positions, but they've had a guy stepping up lately. Jamie, go ahead.
Yeah, Terrace Marshall, man. Like, if you can grab him, like, he's only 11% owned. Like, he's currently quietly breaking out right now. Like, he's only in his second year. He's fast. He runs a 4.5 40. He's got above average speed, burst. And like, we all seem to forget, like, the talent coming out of the draft. Like, he was a second round pick out of LSU. I mean, he found the end zone for the first time in his career last week. And he put up over 14 fantasy points. That was his second week in a row scoring double-digit points. Now he's got juicy matchups the next 2 weeks against Atlanta and Baltimore. So, like, I picked up Marshall last week in 2 separate redraft leagues, played them both in both leagues, and I was happy because, like, I won by, like, a small margin in both of those leagues. So that was a good call by me. But I would get him now before he hits these matchups in the next 2 weeks because he's going to be on people's radar.
Yeah, for sure. Zach, go ahead.
I love it. I just love hearing about it with Terrace. I mean, this is a guy drafted in the 4th round of a lot of my rookie drafts last year.
Yep.
He wasn't a guy big on most radars. I've had him.
Dude, I took him in the late second in one of mine. That's how much I
wow.
loved him.
Okay. Yeah, no,
Like,
I liked him, but I knew he wasn't high on a lot of people's radars, and I've had him stashed for a bit, but it's finally nice to see some opportunity come his way. He wasn't really even getting on the field much last year. Now the snap percentage is up. You know, people are looking his way. Obviously, CMC's gone. Robbie Anderson's gone. There's plenty of opportunity there. And at some point, hey, the Panthers suck. PJ Walker isn't a great QB. But guess what? They're going to move the ball somehow, or at least try to. And hey, someone's going to catch a ball, I would hope.
Yeah.
And he's probably one of the most likely options at this point.
And if you remember in LSU, he was a red zone target.
Yeah. Yep. And you have to remember also just what you're getting right now relative to what you're paying for it. He's on waivers. There's not that many guys that are consistently producing right now on waivers. So if you can snag someone like him where, you know, that volume might uptick even more going into the second half of the year, I like it a lot.
Yeah, or buy him cheap in Dynasty too.
Mike, what are your thoughts?
Oh, I like Terrace Marshall. I liked him coming out. I was down on him in the beginning of the year because of, you know, not performing. But if he's going to keep this up, and now that Robbie's gone, Robbie, I hate to be a Panther Anderson, and now I have less yards on the season than I did after that negative 4-yard catch that he had the other day for Arizona. I think Terrace Marshall has the capability, especially if DJ Moore keeps performing and the coverage keeps going DJ Moore's way. I love Tommy Tremble too. And the only reason I bring Tommy Tremble up is the more they get Tommy Tremble involved, the more it'll open up for they just need to get it opened up for everyone, and then eventually get a quarterback in there that'll actually throw the ball to all of them because they need to score some touchdowns. Okay. So I am about to do something that I never thought I would have to do. And I have to admit I am wrong. I don't mind admitting I'm wrong. But I'm admitting I am wrong about a person that plays for the Kansas City Chiefs. Jamie, what did I say at the beginning of the year?
That you would never, ever recommend anybody to start Hardman.
And I can't believe I'm about to say he's 48% owned on Sleeper Redraft. And if he's not owned on your roster, go pick him up. I really cannot believe I'm saying this. And I want to give Sleeper credit for one thing right now. This new addition they have in their game logs is amazing. Okay? Because it actually gives ranks now. So, in week 1, he was WR42 in full PPR. In week 2, he was WR62. I was still saying, don't freaking own him. Don't roster him. In week 3, WR111. Week 4 against Tampa, WR101. And then all of a sudden, the Chiefs started to get smart. WR32. I know that's not great, but almost all my leagues are start 3 wideouts. That's a starter. Then in week 6, even against Buffalo, WR28. Okay, now here's where it gets very, very interesting. San Francisco, they decide to use him like he's Debo frickin' Samuel and frickin' Tyreek Hill. And I told one of my friends to start, I forget who it was, over Hardman. And he gave me a hard time because Hardman would have won him that week. Why? WR3 with 28 fantasy points. Then they had their bye week. Then this week against Tennessee, WR6. I'm not saying he's going to be a top 10 wide receiver every week, but they're using him the way they needed to use him the whole time. He's finally realizing how to be that kind of guy. Now that Tyreek's gone, they're using him that way. I think they're going to get Tony more involved. They're going to get Sky Moore. He's not going to do anything this year. If he does something, it'll be next year. They have to get Hardman involved with Juju. I know you mentioned Juju earlier, Jamie. With Juju, with Kelsey, with MVS, that running game has tanked. That running game has gone downhill. CEH is almost in existence now. Bless his heart. He shouldn't be on our team. I'm sorry. Zach has seen me rant about that multiple times. But go pick up McCole Hardman if he is available, because I think he will be at least a top 24 wide receiver for the rest of the season. And if he is, that's still a good guy that you can pick up off the waivers. Zach, I see you want to say something.
I like it. I mean, it makes me sad seeing like your secondary guy kind of be of value as a Packer fan, watching all this disappointment. I'm like, wow, what it could have been. Must be nice. No, I love McCole though. I mean, I think it's a good ad this time of year. Same thing as what we were talking about earlier with Terrace Marshall.
Yep.
Good guys to pick up, be aggressive. Obviously, McCole has more value, more production than Terrace to this point. But no, I mean, any of those wide receivers where we've seen more than 1 week of production from, we should be pursuing at this point. You know, you want consistency. Obviously, I get a week with 20 plus fantasy points is awesome. But if he's had a snap percentage less than 20% every other week, I wouldn't really give that much attention. I'm looking for the guy that, hey, he might only score 4 to 6 points a week, but if he's playing 80% of the snaps, there's going to be a potential chance for that to increase because he's on the field all the time. So, yeah, no, both Hardman, Marshall, great ads, and everyone just be mindful of stuff like snap percentage when you're looking at bringing these guys onto your teams.
Oh, for sure.
Yep, I love that. I'm actually looking at it right now, and I mean, he's been going up like consistently the past 2 weeks, averages over 60% snaps. Yep, and then I believe he's he's got 6 touchdowns on the year, right?
He has.
Let me see.
1,
I just had it.
3, 4.
6
5,
touchdowns.
6.
Yeah, it's
2 on the ground and 4 in the air.
Yeah, it's number 4 overall in wide receivers. That's at a 20.7% rate. And then what's this other one I noticed? Is target separation. He is number 1 in target separation. So he's got that speed, and he can do it. And he's also fantasy points per target. He is number 2, I believe.
Yeah.
He's number 2. And then also the quarterback rating per target, he's also number 2. So he gets it done when he's targeted. So just give him more targets. Why not?
Yeah, so tonight's been a great show. We've gone through all our stuff. We've gone through our cheats of the week. So we'll do a little bit of outros. Jamie, why don't you start it off?
All right, you can find me at Jamie Perogue on Twitter. Also on Facebook. I'm on the Fantasy Football Discussion Group. You know, come join chats. You can obviously find me here at Going for Two. Me and Zach will be on the Sunday morning show. And I'll be here on the Cheat Sheet. And then also on the Rum Boys Fantasy Network.
Zach, take it away.
You can find me on Twitter at the Big Pulowski. Thanks as always for having me, Mike. Good to see you, Jamie, and good to see you, Mike. I always love joining
nice
both
to see you again.
Looking forward to doing it on Sunday all over again with Jamie. And also, I did find the rankings. We've got a good bit of diversity here with our Scott Fishbowl ranks. We got Jamie, 341 out of 3,000. We've got Mike right in the middle, 1,593 out of 3,000. And then we got your boy. You know, some would say that the highest number is the best. Others would say the lowest. Each their own. 2832 out of 3,000, baby.
There you go, man.
4 and 14. We're holding down the fort strong at the bottom of the leaderboard. But hey, I was looking at it and can't win all the leagues. And at least the one league that's going the worst, it's the one that I had the most fun during the draft. But now that's all I got. Thanks again for having me.
Yeah. I'm just going to keep it nice and simple. You can find me at Drop the Mic FF. I'm usually a part of the collab article for Waiver Wire on Going for Two. You can find me there as well. You can also find me over the Rum Boys on Friday nights and sometimes during the games. Other than that, for Jamie, for Zach, for me, have a nice night. See you next week. Peace out.
Peace.